no research had told me about that. So I was like, what's this?
Like, why is this not working? I went to lactation class. I did everything.
Boundaries have been awkward, but worth it.
When they put her on my stomach, it was just like, oh my God, this is mine. Like, I really grew this baby.
Every aspect of it, it's like I'm becoming a different version of myself along this journey too.
Welcome to another episode of Autonomous Birth. I am joined today by Miss Tanasia. Tanasia is a mother of 3. You're looking at me, it's so funny. No, because I'm gonna end up doing the same thing. No, look where you want. I don't care. But now I feel weird because I do like to look at people when they talk. But whatever.
I
Okay.
can look at you in here.
That's an option too. That's so weird. The point is, we'll be looking at each other or we'll be looking at the camera. Tanasia is a mother of 3. She's going to share her journey with us today. So if you could introduce yourself, tell the listener one thing that is not related to being a mother about your motherhood journey. Tell the listeners one fun fact about yourself not related to being a mother.
My name is Tanasia, and one thing related about me, I'm a huge lover of all things Friends.
I knew it was going to be it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but also, all right, we're going to get to motherhood, and I feel like I'm screaming. Sorry. Do you like living single?
I love living single.
Okay. Because if you would have said no, I'm like, Tanasia.
No, living single was the Black Friends, but it got cut early.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people you want to compare them, but it's literally the same show, but for different ethnicities, and we know how they do Black people. So,
So to start, can you tell me how you felt when you learned you were pregnant with your first child?
I was shocked and ecstatic and over the moon and so in love. We had already been trying for a year, and I had lost twins in college through an ectopic pregnancy, and I only had one fallopian tube. And the day I graduated from college, I looked at my boyfriend because I told him we were getting married, and I was like, okay, give me babies.
Okay.
And he was like, what? That's wild. We don't have careers. Yeah. He was like, we don't have careers. What are you even talking about right now? And my friend Shadell told him, give her babies. She's not going to be happy unless she give her babies. So literally I stopped taking my pill that day and we started trying. And you originally think that it's gonna be like, oh, okay, boom, pregnant. It was not boom, pregnant. So it took a while for it to happen, a year. I ended up having something called a hysteropentagram where they take this dye to see if your fallopian tubes are open. So they went ahead and inject dye into your uterus and everything to make sure that the pathway to your fallopian tubes is open. So they just wanted to double check to make sure that wasn't something that wasn't an issue. Yes, good counting. So they did that. It hurt a lot because my uterus is also flipped backwards. So
Backwards?
Yeah.
So if you're supposed to be facing this way, it's facing that way. You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they kind of had to pull it front a bit in order to inject the dye. But anywho, it was painful, and a week later we were pregnant.
Okay.
Because that helped to open the fallopian tube a bit. So, yeah.
So I need to rewind because you mentioned you had an ectopic pregnancy. How did you realize you were having an ectopic pregnancy?
So, sensitive subject for some, not for me. Okay. But
I was going to say, also, if it ever is, tell me, like I said.
Yeah, no, I'm an open book. But in college, I got pregnant. It was my freshman year, and I automatically knew that I was going to have an abortion. So I did go to have the abortion or whatever, and, went home. And I had an abortion previously when I was 15 years old. So there were certain parts that I knew were normal and parts that I didn't think were normal. So as I was kind of like bleeding out, part of that is normal. But then I was like really nauseous, and I ended up passing out in my dorm room. And my college roommate actually took me to called the ambulance on me. And it turns out that I had the abortion, but there was twins. One of them was in my fallopian tube. So,
I got questions. I'm sorry.
yeah, I know you got questions. So one had ruptured. So, yeah.
But I mean, I guess I don't know. But
how did they not know?
Yeah, basically is what I'm trying to say.
They didn't know.
Okay. During the year while you were trying for Edward, what did that feel like? Those feelings surrounding?
It felt like God was punishing me for having had abortions previously, even though I knew that the one in college, like I knew that it wasn't viable because I was bleeding already. So it was just like, okay, instead of sitting in my dorm room waiting to have a miscarriage, I'm just going to go and get the abortion because, you know. But yeah, so it just felt like I was being punished and that it wasn't going to go my way.
During that, because I know you talked about this in Bible study as well, what was your relationship with God like? Was it testing your relationship with him at that point?
It was not testing my relationship with him because after Eddie and I got married, we started going to church because we weren't like, you know, we had just graduated college. I graduated in May. We got our first place in July. And, you know, we were busy trying to settle our lives. So we weren't necessarily going to a church. We didn't start going to a church until Easter after we had gotten married. So, I mean, I was young. My walk with God was still very much young as well. So it didn't necessarily test my relationship with him. If anything, it strengthened my relationship with him because it was like, all right, I know you're mad at me. So, you know, what do I need to do for you to give me a baby? You know, it really became this thing of bargaining with him. Back then, God was my genie instead of my Lord and Savior. Yeah. So.
All right. So that first pregnancy, what did it teach you about yourself and those around you?
It taught me that I was very A-type. And I needed everything to be perfect and to go my way. But also it taught me that I needed to trust myself. Because with Edward, I was sick, like very sick. I ended up having to go part-time at work, and they were talking about putting me on meds because I was having such bad migraines that I was literally pooping myself, like because my head was throbbing so hard. And I couldn't keep anything down. I threw up with Edward until 2 weeks after I had him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously you know that. I just never heard of it being after.
Yeah.
So did that like start immediately? Is that how you knew you were pregnant? The symptoms?
No. So because I wanted a baby so much, I probably should have prefaced this. I didn't know when I had Edward or when I had Catherine, but I have PCOS.
Okay.
And growing up, they always just told me that I had irregular periods. So I never knew when my cycle was coming anyways. So I was just taking a pregnancy test every week just because I knew we were trying. And yeah, so like I took a test and it was positive and I was like, oh my God, is this real? You know? And so, yeah.
Okay. Damn,
so
my brain just left the building.
It wasn't until I was 7 weeks that I started getting nauseous and things like that. And it was like, oh, okay. And I was so happy about it. It was like, yeah, that means I'm actually pregnant.
Okay. That leads me to another thing.
Humbled me.
So you know how pregnancies can be easy for some people. For some people, it's not a cakewalk. But I feel like it's hard to express that when you've wanted this child so much. Did you have those like?
Oh yeah, I hated pregnancy so much. I love babies. Oh my god, even the infant stage. You know, some people are like, "Oh my god,
That's
I was
the
so
easiest
tired." And nope, give me an infant, okay? I will take a fresh 1 week old. Ooh, and love is so hard,
You're
even
like, I
through
hear
my
you talking about me.
sleepiness. I love a baby. You know, he's gonna play with him quite a bit. That's why he needs to have so many of them out. But yeah, so, and I would be on Facebook like, I know y'all know I wanted this baby, but this is still hard. I'm not gonna, be out here like, oh, because it was hard. It was very hard being pregnant, especially with Edward. I know for a fact that God made him the firstborn because I always wanted like multiples, because if he had been like number 2, I'd have never had any more. Feeling that way. Yeah. So that was my hardest pregnancy.
Okay. So can you tell me your birth story? Because you say your uterus is backwards, I'm really intrigued. I mean, I was already intrigued, but like triple intrigued now.
So it's funny because Edward was due on March 13th.
Oh, March baby. When's his actual birthday?
February 28th.
Dang. So close.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
And he was born on a leap year.
Okay.
But I had a dream that we had gone to a doctor's appointment on February 27th, and there was a calendar behind my doctor, and it said February 27th, and she told me that I was in labor. I was like, yay. And I told Eddie and my doctor that, and she was like, you're very much A-type. My doctor was not kind.
Okay.
So my very first doctor, I loved her, but she had a baby in November.
Okay.
So I ended up getting transferred over to this other doctor within the practice, and I just did not like her at all. She just kept telling me that I was A-type and I was a first-time mom and I just wanted things to go my way. And, I had taken her like my birth plan, and she was like, babies do what they want. I mean, we can look at this, but so to be a first-time mom, she was not very like warm and welcoming and wanting to answer my questions. So I had told her that, and the weekend before I had Edward, Eddie was at work, and I was just having so many contractions. And I went over to the hospital the first day, and they were like, your contractions are very impressive, but this baby is not like moving down. So, walk to hospital and like go home. Because so we did that. We walked to hospital for like 2 hours, and then we went back home. And I mean, like, just continuing to have contractions. Like, okay. So that was Saturday. And then on Sunday, everywhere I sit, I'm leaving wet spots. And I'm like, has my water broken? Yeah. But I'm unsure because on TV, you always see these, So anyways, I'm like, okay, we got to go back because I don't know why this keeps happening. So leaving all these wet spots, go back to the hospital, and they're like, no, we think maybe it's just because we examined you yesterday. So no, your water has not broken. So I can't sit anywhere without a towel. I'm having contractions and nobody's like taking me seriously. So on Monday, I had a doctor's appointment, the 27th.
Okay.
So we go, and my face is all the way broke down. Like, I done called the doctor a sadistic heifer because I'm just like, she's not listening to me. And she was like, I know you were in the ER over at Labor and Delivery, but first time moms don't go early. If anything, they go late. You just got to let this baby come when this baby comes. And I'm just sitting there looking at her on the side of this table. Like, I'm not even engaging with her because I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm in pain. And she was like, but there's this test that we can do, where I'll swab you. And if we put it on a slide and there's like crystals in it, that means that it is amniotic fluid and you are in labor. So she goes to do that, and she comes in and she's like, well, congratulations. Looks like you're going to be having a baby today. And at that moment, I felt so much relief because somebody finally believed that I was in labor. But now at this point, I have to be induced because they don't know how long my water's been broken. So, we thought I was just going to a doctor's appointment. So he has to go back, let the dog out, get my bag and stuff. And while I'm there at the hospital, the nurses are saying, wow, your husband's huge. Mm-hmm. To preface, my husband is 6'7", and I am
like 5'2",
5'3".
Okay, like I said, 5 feet.
So, because of that, like I'm there and I'm like having contractions, but I'm not like in like, oh, I'm dying pain. Mm-hmm. And the nurse is like, you should probably get an epidural because that baby is going to tear you from the front to back. And so now I'm scared. Yeah. I'm anxious. So I did. I went ahead and got the epidural and I went to sleep.
I mean, that helps.
And I woke up and I said, I got to push. And they said, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. So this is now the 28th, right after midnight. And I pushed on my hands and knees for about 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, no, I want to kind of turn back over because I want y'all to be able to put them on my chest. So, and it's funny because my first doctor is the doctor that ended up delivering him.
That's lovely.
And she was so sweet. Yeah, I didn't like that woman at all. Yeah. But anyway, so my first doctor was the one that ended up delivering him. And they immediately called the NICU team in because he wasn't moving. And he wasn't crying, and they were like rubbing on his sternum, and he wasn't doing anything. Turns out he was asleep. My eldest slept through his birth. That's scared hilarious. The mess out of us. But yeah, he kind of woke up and gave the doctors the what the hell look and went right back to sleep. And that was our journey.
They didn't realize that.
Well, because they were lifting his arms and stuff and like rubbing on his sternum, and he wasn't waking up. Okay. So
I mean, I guess better safe than sorry.
Yeah, also. They like suctioning his mouth out, and like I pushed him out. Like, what is happening? Yeah. He was asleep.
You mentioned the doctor wasn't great. So how did she handle? Because you said you were very sick. Mm-hmm. Was she like not understanding? But did she hear you? Did she try to give you coping Why can't I talk?
No, she gave me drugs.
Okay.
That was what she wanted me in and out all the time. So I want to say it was like Zofran or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was just like, oh, it's okay, but your weight is lower than what we want it to be. So here, take this. This will help with the nausea. And then when I was having the migraines, they sent me to see a neurologist just to make sure everything was okay. And then after that, they were like, yeah, you're having some really bad migraines. We want to put you on this narcotic. I don't even remember the name of the drug. I was like, I'm not drugging my baby. So instead of doing the narcotic,
That's crazy.
Just went part-time at work and laid in the dark as much as possible.
And so like, what were you doing at like work-wise?
I was working at a daycare center with 2-year-olds, which was...
Wow.
Yeah.
Golly.
12 2-year-olds, my sweet little babies, but it was a lot. And I was working from 8 to 6 every day, from 8 a.m. to 6:30. So, no, I'm sorry, it was 9 to 6. That was my schedule, 9 to 6. So it was a long day and a lot of noise, and I couldn't handle it. So I ended up going part-time.
And so like... Also, not to go on tangents, but they are important tangents, in my mind at least. With them being a daycare, obviously they should be supportive of women and mothers. Were they receptive to you? Like, hey, I need to step back a little bit. Push back? Okay.
They were awesome. I was working at the daycare center for Johns Hopkins Hospital. Okay. So a lot of the parents of the children were doctors over at the hospital. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, they were very understanding about it. Mm-hmm. Just as long as I knew I wasn't finna get paid. They didn't.
Okay. They like you know this.
I just know you're not getting paid. So. Mm-hmm.
All right. So how was your postpartum journey with your oldest?
I was so just like in love. It all seemed to go so fast. All I wanted to do was cuddle and hold my baby, but I was so stressed about money. Because I wasn't working and my husband was working at Hopkins, but it wasn't enough money. So I went back when Edward was 7 weeks and, just cried and dealt with it. You know what I mean? And then from there, I had to do my internship because in this process of being pregnant with Edward and having this infant, I was getting my master's degree. So I had to do my student teaching, and that was unpaid. And now I have a baby, and he's got to go to daycare because I have to go do this, and my husband's got to pay for daycare, and it was stressful. It was a lot of prayer going on, but just everything with Edward, I just remember being like so in love, like just wanting to hold him all of the time. But it was stressful on my marriage, because Eddie was a first-time dad, and he was spoiled.
Eddie was spoiled, or baby Eddie was spoiled?
My husband was spoiled. He was spoiled by a wife that was always up under him, and he was my world and doing everything. And the transition of going from him being my everything to having to share me, we got into our first really big argument after Edward was born. I want to say he was like 3 weeks old, and my husband was having a tantrum.
Sorry, Eddie, if you're listening. I mean, I'm sure you're listening to it.
Yeah, he's going to be listening to it, but he will absolutely tell you that, and he had to grow up a little bit. And I also had to remember that I was his wife before I was a mother. And we had to work that thing out. But the stress of the financials on top of the fact that he wasn't feeling like loved and things like that. Like, we both had some growing to do. We were young. Yeah. I was 23, and that means that he had just turned 25. Like, so
how, because like, to your point, that happens often. How did you guys make it through that? Like, was it, we just gonna figure this out? Did you have to not find counseling, but go to counseling? Like, what was it that got you through?
No, we just figured it out. His parents were a huge help to us. So my mother-in-law is one of my best friends, and she gonna have my back 100% through every single situation. But yeah, so, I'm on the phone with her, and I'm like, look, this is what's happening. And she's talking to him, and his dad's talking to him, and she's talking to me. And like, they were just very open and honest with us about like, get your stuff together. This is hard, but remember that you two are a team. Like, and then we were very heavy into church at that time. So just being around other women who had children and things like that was really helping me to figure out, like, you are a mother and a wife. You're not just a mother.
So what's going back to work at 7 weeks? I know you said you were breastfeeding. What did that look like? Because at that point, did they have wearables? That makes it sound like it was ancient.
They did not have
long ago, but wearables are fairly new.
They are. There was no such thing as a wearable when I had Edward, and it was nice because I worked at a daycare center. So like, pumping was. I would just go into the break room to pump, but my breastfeeding journey with Edward was not easy because I was at home and I would wake up and nurse him, and then I would just lay back down and go to sleep. I wasn't eating and I wasn't drinking water. Okay. So my milk did not come in the way that it should have. I also did not have like a lactation consultant or anything like that. So I didn't know that I shouldn't be using the nipple guard, and I was, and that did not help my milk production either. So I was literally pumping for the next bottle. And it was hard, and I did a lot of crying because it was like, this is what I'm supposed to be able to do. I still made it 10 months with him.
That's a long time, especially to go back at 7 weeks.
Yeah. I still made it 10 months, but I hated pumping so much. I was not one of those women that had a supply in the refrigerator.
You kind of already answered this, so I'm not asking that. What was the biggest shock for you your first go round as a parent?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I had. Oh my God. The first time he had a blowout. When I tell you, I immediately called my mother because there was poop up his back and in his hair.
Oh, his hair.
Like, all in his hair. And my babies have curly hair. Okay. And I called my mother and I'm like, what do you do? Like, this? I don't want to put poop in my bathtub. Like, what do I do? But there's so much. Like, I cannot use wipes for this. And she was like, girl, put that baby in the bathtub. And I'm like, I'm going to take him in the bath. I'm going to take him in the backyard and hose him down. Like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, what do I do with the clothes? Like, do I just throw them out? She was like, no, you wash them. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch that. And yeah, at that moment, I needed an adultier adult because I was not it. I was looking at this baby like, ugh. Uh-huh. So yeah, and it was all yellow and up his back. And it was in his hair.
At least it wasn't like, that sounded like breastfeeding poop to me.
Yeah,
you say
it was
fairly
breastfeeding
young.
poop. Yeah.
So at least it wasn't like, the real thing. Because that's when things get real nasty. You don't like it sticking to your finger? All right. So after Edward, no, I'm missing a question. Oh, okay. I know you mentioned the struggles with breastfeeding, and it sounds like you didn't. So never mind. We already talked about it. So, Catherine, when did you guys decide? Okay, why are you smiling like that?
Because it's my kitty girl.
Okay. When did you guys decide to start trying again? And that sounded crazy. I don't like the way I just asked that. When did you guys start having sex again and have a baby? It's a wild ass question.
It's not. When did you guys decide you wanted another baby?
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
You knew it.
I do. So when Edward was 2. So when I had Edward, I got on birth control after Edward because that pregnancy was so wild. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. So I ended up getting an IUD, which my husband hated it. Because he said he could feel the string.
Why'd you say that? I said, I'm squeezing my legs like I got a penis.
I'm just saying, like, I couldn't feel it, but he said that he could feel
scary.
it. So, yeah. Anywho, I had an IUD, and I knew that just based off of what I knew about IUDs, that it could take a while. So we wanted Edward to be at least 3 before, a sibling came. So I went ahead and got off of my IUD. So Edward's birthday's in February. So I stopped in March when he turned 2. So I had my IUD removed. And then, we were raw dogging it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was taking a while. It didn't take as long as Edward. It wasn't a year. It took 10 months with Catherine. But it was just kind of like, what is going on? Like, my cycle wasn't coming. And it was like, and then for some reason, I just kept feeling like I was pregnant. And then I wasn't. So that was very stressful. But it took 10 months. And it's interesting because it was New Year's 2015. And we were at a church and we went to a watch night service. And the pastor said, congratulations to Eddie because he had just gotten a new job. And he was like, oh, yeah, congratulations. You're going to need that new job for your daughter.
Oh, that's creepy. I mean, I shouldn't say that's creepy, Lord. I'm sorry.
And
but
I
you know
wasn't,
what I'm saying?
and I wasn't pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
And we hadn't really shared with people that we were trying because that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just in church like, hey, my husband and I are,
Yes.
So
Bumping cheeks,
at that
guys.
point, it was just like, so I always say that Catherine was my prophecy. By the end of January, I was pregnant with her. Okay. So it was, I found out I was pregnant with her in February. So we had gone to Chicago because Eddie's sister had her baby shower in January. So we had taken a trip up there and we were driving back and we got stuck. Our drive back ended up being 23 hours because the snow was so bad. Like, we ran into a snowstorm. But we didn't have a choice because I had to go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And this is literally Sunday. We left Sunday morning thinking we'd be back sometime Sunday evening. We got back at Monday, 4 in the morning.
And you went to work?
It was a delay. So I ended up with a 2-hour delay. But in the car, I felt so sick. But in my mind, in the car, I was sick because I get car sick and I've been in this car too long and Edward's in the back screaming and crying because now he's been in the car for an entire day.
Yeah.
And we got a flat tire. It was a mess. So it was just a lot that was going on. But I was feeling sick. And, Monday I went to work. And then on Tuesday, I decided to take a test because why not? And then I had Edward give Eddie the pregnancy test. He was like,
You probably like, why am I start crying and stick it right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And by that time, Edward was 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was getting ready to turn 3. His birthday was in the end of February. So yeah, he gave his dad the test and everything, and then he was like, so we were really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. You planned that out to the T.
I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely tried.
And so where am I going? Sorry, my brain. How did your first pregnancy with Edward impact how you moved through the pregnancy with Catherine?
It was different simply because, one, I wasn't very sick with Catherine. I mean, I was sick, but I feel like I was like normal sick, not over the top sick. And at this point, my husband has a better job.
Mm-hmm.
So money isn't as big of an issue. And also, now that I was an actual teacher and not in daycare anymore, I had like time saved up and things like that. So going through the pregnancy, I wasn't as stressed.
Yeah.
And I had also gotten insurance, which was like short-term disability, that would pay me while I was on maternity leave, or FMLA, because there's no such thing as maternity leave.
Not in
the
Americas.
So they weren't going to pay me to be home. So, but I had gotten like the short-term disability. So that felt really good. However, the doctors like kept telling me that she was measuring like really big for her age and things like that. And I was like, I think you guys have my due date wrong, because they had my due date for like towards the end of October, but it was the beginning of October. And they just kept telling me like that she was too big, and they wanted to like do a test on her and everything because they thought that she had Downs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never forget, like I go and have the test done and everything, and they're saying to us, they're like this like counseling session, and they're like, so if this test comes back that your baby has Downs, like what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm not sure of the question. Like,
I'm sorry, in my face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, this child was prophesied to us by God. If she has Downs or whatever, like, this is my baby. What are you talking about?
And Downs is not like...
It's not. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So what? But yeah, eventually they realized that they had my due date wrong. And I'm like, look, I have been keeping track of ovulation and all of these things. Like, I know when I conceived. And y'all are wrong. I am right.
I'm sorry, because you are right.
I am right.
I can imagine you saying it that way.
Yeah, and I knew that they were wrong because I didn't typically get a cycle, and I got one in January and didn't get one in February. So for me, it was like, oh, I know around the time that I conceived. Like, I know this time. Before, it was like, I'm not sure, but I knew.
I was wondering if it was because of the PCOS that they were just getting it so wrong.
Well, I hadn't been diagnosed with PCOS yet.
Okay, got you, right?
Mm-hmm. So
I follow.
At that point, I was just like, whatever. And then I was like, no, she doesn't have Downs. I was like, yeah, I didn't think she did, but go off. Y'all feel vindicated. Whatever.
Okay, so was that the same doctor? Like, were you still at the same?
No, this was a different doctor. But at this time, I was seeing a new practice of doctors, and there were some in the practice that I liked and some that weren't like my favorite. So it was like, whatever.
So tell me your birth story with Catherine.
So I left work a week early because at this point, I got time, I got money. I'm going to go ahead and get my little self together before. And there were things that I needed to like prep for Edward, right? Because now I have another child to worry about as well. So, I'm like, this baby got to come out early. Her due date was October the 13th.
Okay.
So I wanted her
That's
out
interesting.
early.
Sorry, because both the days are the same.
Yeah.
And like, I might cut this out. So my kids, I have a very, very regular cycle, and my kids had the same due date, different months. So that would make me think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Proceed. Sorry.
So, yeah. Well, our home, Edward and I'm like, I kept him home that week from daycare just because I wanted to have, last bit of time of just him and mommy, blah, blah, blah. So now, was it a Friday? It wasn't a Friday. It was sometime in the middle of the week. And Eddie just left to go to work. And now I'm sitting down everywhere and I'm leaving wet spots. Again.
Girl.
So, I call my best friend at the time and I'm like, hey, I need you to come get Edward. And Eddie comes to get me and we go over to the hospital and they hook me up to the monitors and everything. And they're like, okay, so your water didn't break. I'm like, did you do the crystal thing? And they're like, yeah, we did the crystal thing. So I'm like, all right, well, cool, going home. But right before I signed the discharge papers, Catherine's heart rate goes down. And they're like, okay, we're not going to do this because you're due next week anyways, because I made it to 39 weeks. They were like, we're just gonna go ahead and induce you. And I'm like, okay. So here we go with another induction. So they give me the Pitocin and everything, and I'm doing all right. About 7 o'clock that night hit. And when I tell you, those contractions were out of this world. I called. I was like, give me the drugs. Drug me, drug this baby, drug my husband. I don't care. Drug us all. So they come in to give me the epidural. And they're immediately called out because there's an emergency C-section and they need the anesthesiologist for that.
Damn.
So I'm like, okay.
I don't understand why you only got one, but go ahead.
Girl, me either.
Yeah,
But so they did not end up giving me my epidural until like 1 a.m. And remember, I told you I asked for it at 7. But they have 3 other emergency C-sections in between that. So it's like, oh, we gotta do this. Now my water breaks with Catherine, and when I tell you it felt like my baby girl punched through the bag, like it was like, oh my God. And then from there, her heart rate is going down with every single contraction. So they get me the epidural and everything, and at that point they're like, okay, we're gonna ease up on the Pitocin because we feel like the contractions are too strong for her or whatever. So I'm like, okay. So she's kicking at the monitor. Catherine's going crazy. My baby and they're fighting. So they end up putting like the little probe in her head and putting a balloon inside of me. Moms know what I'm talking about when I say that, the whole balloon thing and all that.
What's it called? Foley bulb?
Yeah. Yep. The Foley bulb.
Open up your cervix.
Yes. So, they do all of that and everything. And finally, I'm relaxed. I lay down. They come rushing back in because her heart rate has dropped again. And they're like, okay, we want to turn you on this side, turn you on that side. And then they left out. 10 minutes later, they come rushing back in and they're like, okay, let's check to see how far along you are. I was 9 centimeters dilated. And they're like, okay, let's go ahead and have you try and push.
At 9?
At 9. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I'm pushing and her heart rate is gone. They cannot get a heartbeat on her at all, even with the probe in her head. So at this point, they're like, we got to do emergency C-section. And when I tell you it all happened so fast, my C-section scar is not even like straight across. Like it is jagged. Like they were trying to get my baby out. And it's been minutes. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, my baby gone. And I'm just laying there on the table, like in shock. And my husband is moving around the room when he's supposed to be staying up in my head. But no, he is laying hands on every doctor. He is praying in tongues. He is not following anybody's directions. Okay.
What you doing?
So they pull her out as pink and loud as she want to be. And my girl is 7 pounds, 7 ounces. And, they go ahead and put her on the table and everything. And they're cleaning her off. And I'm just laying there. Like, they cut me.
They cut you, baby.
They cut me.
For good reason.
They did cut me for good reason.
But it's still a cut.
But it wasn't until much later, months later, that I realized that I had gone through postpartum because of it. I felt so outside of my body. And once again, so I got to go back to the hospital with Catherine. So after I had her at 3 a.m. I'm exhausted. I literally was having contractions that entire day before, and like I just felt like I never got a chance to like rest at all. Like with Edward, they gave me the epidural, I went to sleep.
Yeah.
But at this point, I haven't had any time to sleep. You know, they immediately want to get me nursing, so I'm trying to do that. The lactation consultant is coming in and everything, and Catherine's not latching. Okay. And now I'm like frustrated all over again. Turns out Catherine has a tongue tie. So they take my baby away to snip under her.
Oh, right then and there?
Yeah. So they did that. And then
Sound like an old person. My bad.
they're trying to get her to latch and everything. But now they are having her supplement with formula. So I have like this little tube thing that's right on the side of my boob, and I'm putting my boob and that in her mouth. And they have me like trying to express milk and put it on a spoon to feed her as well, because she's losing weight.
Yeah. That's a lot.
So now it's like Thursday. It's like 3-4 days after I've had her. We're still in the hospital. She's still not gaining weight. And they're like, yeah, so tomorrow we're going to discharge you, but we're going to keep her here in the NICU. And I was like, no, we're just going to give her some formula. I'm taking my baby home. But they're like, you know, we're a breastfeeding hospital. We really want you. I understand that, but y'all not keeping my baby. I came in here with a baby. I'm leaving up out of here with a baby. So y'all can either go get her some formula, or I'm going to have my husband go to the store and go get her some formula. But I'm taking my baby up out of here. So they ended up coming in and giving me formula because I was serious. And from there, I had to go to the doctors with her every day to make sure that she was gaining weight. So I've had a C-section.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm taking these drugs because I'm in pain. Mind you, I'm sorry. I had her at 3. At 7 o'clock, when the nurses change, they come in there talking about some, you know, okay, we want to get you up and walking. I'm like, okay, how many staples did y'all give me? And they're like, oh, no, we don't do that anymore. You know, we just do the dissolvable stitches. I was like, sorry, what? My guts are going to fall out. I'm not getting out of this bed.
Why would you say that?
Because that's how I felt. Like,
I mean, yes.
Nobody, because it was all rushed and everything, nobody had explained the C-section to me. And after that, nobody explained anything of the stitching or any of that. So in my mind, my guts are going to fall out. Like, I'm used to women getting staples and no. They're like, nah, silly girl, we don't do that anymore. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, so I wouldn't get up and walk. It took me some time before I would get up and walk. But anyways, I'm in pain. I'm hunched over because these stitches is too tight, if you ask me. I need a little bit more room. But, you know, so I get home and they had me on meds. But now Eddie has to go back to work because he doesn't have paternity leave. We went and picked Edward up from my cousin's house and everything. And he's so excited and all of these things. And Edward was a wild 3-year-old. Okay. When I tell you my baby was busy, he was very busy. So Eddie has to go back to work. I have to take her to the doctors every single day. And that means that I have to drive. So I cannot take medicine. I have this infant. I have this 3-year-old. We live on the 3rd floor of the apartment. So I've got to walk up and down stairs to get to the car. I was stressed. And Catherine was born in 2015, but I lost my mother in 2013. So this is also the first time I'm having a baby and my mom's not there. And in July, my sister had moved to Vegas. So I don't have any of the support that I feel like I typically would have. So I'm sad. And I don't really know why I'm sad. But, you know, at the moment of being in that, I wasn't thinking about all of those things of why I was sad. Like, I can sit now and say, oh, that's what was going on with me. But I felt outside of my body. This might be TMI for the podcast, but after we had Edward, like 2 weeks after we had him, and I know they say 6 weeks.
Girl, and I knew you was going to say that. As soon as
it.
you said 2 weeks, I was like, this nigga. Proceed.
Like 2 weeks, we was back at it. It was like 3-4 weeks after Catherine, and Eddie's thinking, oh, you ain't pushed that baby out, so the goods is good.
They wasn't.
The goods was not good. And I didn't want to be touched. I felt outside of my body. Like, I just felt like so much of her being an infant, I was floating above myself, just watching myself do all these things and like dragging myself through it. While Eddie was at work, I cried all the time, but I would literally get myself together before he came home because like, what do you have to be sad about? You have all these things, your husband working hard and doing all, he don't want to come home to no crying ass wife. So I kept a lot of it bottled in, but he was starting to get mad at me again. Not in an immature way, but in a way of, I'm your husband, why are you not talking to me? Like, what's going on with you? And I eventually
gave you
told
your
him,
props,
like,
Eddie.
I did. But I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't know like what was going on at that time. I just kept telling him, I don't know. I don't feel like me. I don't feel like me. But yeah, so that was tough. And I didn't go back after Catherine until 9 weeks, which was nicer. And I ended up having a girl that was at our church to nanny for Catherine, which was nice. Edward was still in daycare, but she was, you know, a nanny. So Catherine just like went to her house and things like that. So that was really nice. And I went back to work, and work was disastrous because I had a baby in October. I handed my class off to a sub early in the year.
Yeah.
And that year I had a new principal. It was a lot. And I was struggling at work as well as struggling with my emotions and everything at home. So postpartum with Catherine was really hard. But I was so excited to have my baby girl.
Okay, so like with that, I know like early on, because relatable content, oh God, I just know like a 3-year-old saying it. But like, it's hard, for me, it was hard to say what is wrong because I don't know Negro. Like, I really don't. I just know this don't feel right. At what point were you able to at some point articulate it to him, or was it just like you came out of that funk, I guess?
I just ended up coming out of the funk eventually. Yeah. I wasn't able to articulate what it was until years later. And he was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I honestly had 2 babies that were dependent on me. I pushed myself through.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were still going to church and things like that. It was a lot of tears. It was a lot of prayer. But it was God that got me through that time period because I wouldn't let my husband in enough. Well, I didn't know how to let him in enough because he was looking for me to articulate and I couldn't.
And it's like they don't know.
Yeah. And I'll never forget. So my sister's birthday is in November. And, you know, I had Catherine in October and everything, but I'm sitting at home on the couch with her and I get a knock at the door and it's my older sister. And when I tell you, I fell to my knees and just started crying because I needed her so much, you know, so it was a very emotional moment for me, but.
Yeah. So because you mentioned you had your mom when you had Edward, and then with Catherine, you did not. So like just in their lives in general, how has that impacted your mothering and like the feels, I guess to say the emotions of, okay, I don't have like this strong support system. How do I say it? Sorry. I don't have my usual support system to help me through this. And like, I can't call my mom at this moment. Like when these kids are getting on my damn nerves, like I shouldn't have said on my damn nerves, but you follow.
Yeah, I follow. So it's interesting because my relationship with my mother was crazy. You know, I grew up with addicted parents. I've been in foster care. I've been in group homes. And my mother didn't get clean until my junior year of high school. So a lot of my childhood was spent in and out of her care, taking care of her, taking care of my younger siblings and everything. And when I was becoming a mother, I just knew that I was going to do everything better than what she did. And I carried that attitude with her. Because in my mind, what can you teach me about being a mother? Yeah. So when Edward was born, my mom was already sick. She had emphysema and all of that. And, you know, she wanted Edward to like come over all of the time. And I was like, no. Like, I will never forget. Edward was about 6 weeks old. And Eddie and my mother had concocted that I needed to get some rest before I went back to work. So he took my baby to my mother's house overnight because I needed to get rest. We dropped him off at about 5 p.m. I was at her doorstep at 4:30 in the morning in tears, give me my baby back. I'm not sleeping without him being here. I now have to pump. Before I have to pump, it was, they thought that they were doing something great, but I wasn't ready to like let my baby go. And my mom would always try and get him for the weekend and everything. But when she passed, he wasn't even 2. It's like, he's a baby. He does not need to stay at your house for the weekend, and I kind of like pushed her away so much that when I had Catherine, I wanted her and I couldn't have her. So I would have loved to have sent Edward to her house for a weekend at that point, you know what I mean? But I didn't have that as an option. So it definitely made it harder because I was then now wanting her and reminiscing about the fact of how I had treated her when I had my first, although she did some wild stuff because when Edward was born that day, that Tuesday, my dad came up, my stepfather came up to see the baby and everything. And he got there before my mother did. And she was already upset with me because I didn't want her in the room with me when he was born. I wanted my older sister and I wanted my husband because I could only have 2. And in her mind, she's my mother. She was supposed to be in that room. But she was also like on oxygen tanks and had trach and all of that needed to be suctioned. I was like, no, I can't do that, And she was upset about that. And then the fact that my stepfather got a chance to hold the baby before she did. Y'all, when I tell y'all, I had Edward at 12:35 a.m. My mother got there at about 9 in the morning, and she took an Oreo cookie and rubbed it across my baby's lips.
You are lying to me today.
I'm not lying to you. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Why did she do that to the baby? And how did you react?
I reacted like how I am right now. Like I just like sat up and was like, what are you even doing?
That is very interesting.
And I was so irritated, and so she and I got into like a mini tiff at the hospital. So when I got home with Edward, like people do, you waiting for all of the visitors to come and stuff and they never came. So it was like a week and a half after I had Edward, and my cousin calls and he's like, hey, I'm out doing deliveries because he drives for UPS, whatever. He was like, is it cool if I come by? Because I'm like in your neighborhood before I head back to take the truck back. I was like, yeah. So he comes and, he sees the baby and everything. I was like, tell me this. Why hasn't anybody come to see this baby yet? He was like, your mother called and said that y'all didn't want visitors right now.
That was her get back. Over the Oreo cookie.
Yeah, that was her get back. So nobody had come to
Oreo
visit
cookie
me.
on the baby lip.
Nobody came to visit me because she told people that I didn't want visitors right now. Like, why did you tell people that?
Because they was going to cover up Oreo cookies on the baby lip, girl.
That wasn't true. It wasn't that I didn't want visitors. She was just OD and she did the most. So yeah, my relationship with her was crazy. So not having her when Catherine came along, it was like, oh, dang, I really do wish that I had her help, because my older sister, whenever she had her girls, my mother went and stayed at her house for like 2-3 weeks. And my sister stayed in bed and my mother took care of her and took care of the babies. And that's something, that she wanted to do for me. Yeah. But I didn't need that because I was married, whereas though my sister wasn't, so what she was looking for in a relationship with my children as her grandchildren was different than how she had with my sister's children, because I didn't need the support system as much as my sister did. So she ain't like it.
I'm just turning the light on.
Okay. It is.
Why? Because it's only 4 o'clock.
Because it's winter time.
I hate overhead lighting. I know that sounds crazy.
No. I understand it.
Okay, so.
Hey, Shmoo.
So you said, all right, Naja, English. How did you get back to breastfeeding? Because you said they gave him formula, but you also said that you breastfed Catherine.
Yeah.
So what did that look like?
When we got home, the lactation consultant came in and like was telling me like this is the right way to place your breast in her mouth and things like that. So once my milk came in, I stopped the formula.
Okay.
And I was literally eating and drinking water like nobody's business. It was to the point where Eddie had to go out and buy a deep freezer because I was producing so much milk. Like I would pump and then I would feed Catherine and then pump like 8 to 10 ounces after that. So my milk supply came in very well with her. And I exclusively breastfed her until I went back to work. And then she took a bottle. So with me exclusively breastfeeding her, and then I pumped after every single time I breastfed her, my body thought that I needed more. So I was able to build up like a large supply before I went back to work. Which was a good thing because as soon as I got back to work, the stress and everything and only being able to pump once, which was like my lunch break, and not being able to eat the way I was when I was at home and everything. It was just like, and I was pumping in my classroom while the kids were at lunch. And it seemed like every day a kid would come and knock on the door because they forgot this or they forgot that. Or, Robin, this is for you. Our custodian at the time, like she would come in and like grab trash and stuff like that, and she would always just unlock my door and walk right in, and like I'm in my classroom pumping, like I didn't have like a separate spot where I could do it and everything. And I would always tell her, girl, you need to buy me some dinner or something. You keep coming in here while my top is off. But yeah, so my pump journey with Catherine was absolutely awful. So we only made it to 9 months of breastfeeding with Catherine.
When you say you made it to 9 months, because you also said you had a big stash. Was 9 months like after the stash went out, or 9 months was when you were done?
So I just wasn't producing milk anymore. And the stash that I had, like I was still nursing her, but it wasn't as frequent. And the stash that I had was dwindling. So by the time she was 10 months old, the milk was gone. So she had to switch to formula for the last 2 months.
And so I guess between both your first and second pregnancy, how did your platonic relationships evolve?
Platonic?
Like your friends, family?
I honestly, because Eddie and I graduated college and immediately got married and started having babies, my friends were not there. And they were still out living their lives, and I was so happy for them. But I essentially was like, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really maintain the friendships the way that I should have, if that makes sense. And my feelings about leaving Edward outside of being at work was, no, this is my baby. I need him with me. And my friends always said, well, you know, once they get older, that gets better. It did not get better. My son is 13, will be 14 in February. And I do not like when they go somewhere overnight or things like that. Eddie trying to take me away for the weekend and stuff is always like, well, what about my children? My siblings do not like to watch my children while I am out of town.
Is it because you're type A?
It's not even that I'm type A. I just cry. And it's so bad. It's like, I don't know why I'm crying. Like, we went to Williamsburg for one of our anniversaries for a weekend. And when I tell you, when I got back to my children, I was crying and bawling. And because I was crying and bawling, they were crying and bawling. It was just like...
And Eddie just standing there looking at y'all.
He took me to the Poconos for our 10-year wedding anniversary. So that means Edward was 9. Okay? He was 9. And we were sitting at like dinner, and over the loudspeaker, one of the songs from Hotel Transylvania came on. I'm in love with a monster.
Okay.
And when I tell you, I started boo-hooing, and Eddie's like, you gotta stop. People gonna think that I brought you here to break up with you or something. Like, I'm in there. crying. Like, so yeah, it did not get better for me. I have a lot of anxiety about being away from my children. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I always say, like, I did not have children for other people to have them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm not at work, I want my babies with me. Yeah. They're older now, and like they'll request to like go to their cousin's house and stuff like that. And I'm okay with that because they want to do it, but I don't feel good about being away from them. Mm-hmm. I would totally love to go on vacation with Eddie and my children and bring a nanny along, but there's something about nighttime when we have our routine where, you know, we pray with them and put them to bed and everything. When I don't have that routine with them, when I can't go into their rooms and see their faces in the middle of the night, mm-hmm. I don't like it. I don't sleep well when my children are not with me. Mm-hmm. Edward's 13, and this year he went to his very first sleepover. And when I tell you, pulling away from his friend's house, I was like in tears. Mm-hmm. And Eddie's like, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay." I'm like, I know. No, he said he's gonna be okay. I said, I'm not worried about him. It's me that I'm worried about. I don't know why I am this way, but I am. Mm-hmm.
Do you think it could have to do with your childhood?
Possibly.
I don't know why I'm raising my head.
But yeah, it possibly could have a lot to do with my childhood and not having my mom around when I needed her and wanted her. But yeah, I always want them around. Mm-hmm. That's why I have so many events at my house.
Yeah.
Because I want people to bring their children. I want the children to, you know, feel comfortable running around and blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't ever want people to feel like in order to hang out with me or be friends with me, like, you gotta take your kids somewhere else. No, we are parents. Mm-hmm. And we have to get used to the house being messy and lived in and the children having toys all over the place. It is hard. But for me,
it's my brain. Children's house. Yes. Mm-hmm. But it's just like the clutter.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you make it, but you're going to clean it up.
Yeah.
The kids, that is. Not, you know what I'm saying?
They're not going to clean it up.
That should be hurting my head.
But as I look at my now 13-year-old, mm-hmm. the years go by so fast. I literally have maybe, 5 years left with him? And I can still remember what he was like at 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, that feels like yesterday. So understanding that, you know, it's tough in those years and things like that can be like you want to pull your hair out. They go by so fast.
Or you just cut it off.
There's going to be one day where I'm going to wish that I had little people toys to clean up and to hug. And
all right. Mushy ma'am.
I'm sorry. That's just me.
You're fine.
I'm the mushy mom.
But also that makes me think of, like, you know how people, it's always that house where kids are like, "Oh, I want to go to Miss Tanasia's house," or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's what it makes me think of.
Oh yeah, that's my house. Mm-hmm. I always have children in my home.
You can add 2 more to the list if you want.
Yeah, I sure will. Because the thing of it is, I always have little girls in my house. Everybody has daughters.
Oh, so Chandler doesn't have any, like, not a boyfriend, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. And Edward never did either because I have a bunch of nieces. Mm-hmm. One of my nephews lives all the way out in Westminster, and another one that's his age lives on the Eastern Shore. So he's got his sister and he's got nieces. So,
all right. So, how long after Catherine did you guys decide to have another child?
Catherine was 2.
Okay, 3 years again.
Yep.
And you were treating for 3. Okay.
I feel like that's the sweet spot. Mm-hmm. When the child is 3, they're ready for a sibling, they're excited and all of those things. But after I had Catherine, even after I stopped breastfeeding, my cycle never came back. Mm-hmm. Like, didn't get one at all for almost 2 years. So the December before we decided to try with Chandler, I was like, okay, I probably need to go to the hospital. Well, to the doctors, because this ain't right. And I did, and that's when I was diagnosed with PCOS.
So you can have a period for 2 years. 2 years?
Well, not 2 years, so...
Well, I guess it was longer because you breastfed.
After Catherine, after 9 months when I stopped breastfeeding Catherine, I was expecting my cycle to come back. Mm-hmm. And it didn't. So Catherine was born in October. So that was July when I stopped nursing her. So in October when it hadn't come back. I was like, this is weird. So I went to the doctors in December.
Okay.
So it was 2 years, including the pregnancy. And then, right after her. So yeah, it was like, so I went to the doctors, and that was when they sent me for like ultrasounds. They did blood work. Like, they were thorough.
Yeah.
And figuring out like why it was that I wasn't having a cycle. And I ended up finding out that I had PCOS.
So
because after Catherine, I also never went back on birth control.
Okay, I had the thought in my head. I was going to ask. But I did have the thought.
I never went back on birth control. So in my mind, it was like,
it should be here, not immediately, but in fair time.
That's what they ended up doing. They ended up putting me on birth control so that it could regulate my cycle. And then I stopped the birth control after, I got my cycle back. But then it stopped coming.
It disappeared again? Okay.
Yeah.
So once you got, like, you learned that you had PCOS, was it like, oh, maybe that's why it took so long the first time in your head? Okay. So. Yeah. Because I don't ovulate every month. So it's like, now things are clicking. All right. So you decided you want to have another kid around 28. Chandler came around 35. Tell me about that time.
So.
All the things.
It was rough. Because at this point, now I know I have PCOS. So I'm doing the ovulation strips. And the doctors have now put me on, I want to say Clomid, something like that. And that's supposed to make it where as though I'm getting a cycle and I am ovulating. So I'm getting a cycle every single month. But I ain't pregnant. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, my body should be able to do this. Like, I'm not getting pregnant. So at that point, my doctor suggests that Eddie comes in. Eddie's like, we have 2 kids. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And that became a thing between us because, that's what he was thinking.
I knew his fingers was going right in the chocolate.
Because he doesn't like the
That's not chocolate,
cracker.
Nadja. That's hazelnut, ain't it? I don't know what it is.
But
the way mothers know their children, because I'm sitting here like, he's just going to go for that chocolate. And you're like, he's going for the chocolate because he doesn't want the cracker. Sorry, proceed.
So, at that point, I'm feeling this internal like, oh, so you think there's something wrong with me. And now I'm feeling that way because it's like, oh, now that I've been diagnosed with PCOS, I'm the problem. And he, like, I kept saying, like, okay, I need you to go. And, I've started with Shady Grove and all of this. And I'm like, hey, I need you to go, give a sample, blah, 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 blah. And he not doing it. Because in his mind, well, I don't want to say what was in his mind, but we had kids already.
Yeah.
Like, but it ended up happening that he finally did go. No, he didn't finally go. He says to me at some point in this journey, and he's like, so nothing's coming out. I was like, what? I was like, I don't think anything's coming out. And because, like I said, we're trying to have a baby, he's finishing where he's supposed to finish, right? So I'm like, what do you mean? So we test that theory, and nothing's coming out. Okay. So now he goes to the doctors, and Eddie has had diabetes since he was 7. He has juvenile diabetes. And, so his body doesn't create insulin at all. And it's just like one of those things. They have now told him that he goes and sees a urologist and all of that. And turns out he has what's called retrograde ejaculation. So it doesn't come out. There's a little valve that is open, and he ejaculates into his bladder. So all of the sperm and everything is going inside of his bladder.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
I know I keep raising my hand. Does that mean when he pees, it could just...
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes out in the urine. Yeah. We're going to talk about that with the IVF journey.
Okay.
Open.
That smile.
So, at this point now, they are trying different things to see if they can... What do you think? No.
This ain't it, mama.
No. I didn't think you were going to like this one.
You don't want the fiber and the protein? So give me my fruit.
Oh, yeah. So at that point, you know, it's like, okay, they're trying to do things with him to see if they can make it where it'll come out. And that's not working. And then in 2019, he ended up having half his foot amputated due to his diabetes. He got an infection in his foot. So everything for IVF like got put on hold because like you're not healthy right now. Like we don't need to be worrying about this. And then COVID hit. And the world shut down, and it was like, okay, we're not doing this right now. So everything just kind of got put on hold. And then in 2023, no, it was the end of 2022. And, you know, we had been praying for a baby and all of these things. And I was like, okay, it's time to get started with the IVF thing again. So he ended up going to the doctors. And what they did was have him, you know, do the fun time in a cup. But because nothing comes out, he had to then pee into the cup. Yeah. And they were able to separate the urine from the sperm. Now, while they did that with him, they hijacked my cycle and put me on all types of drugs. I mean, I'm taking needles multiple times a day in order to get my eggs and everything. So when it was time to go and harvest my eggs, I got 33 eggs, and 17 of them were fertilized, and 9 of them made it to the blastocyst stage, which means like these are viable embryos. And I had something, I can never remember the name of it, but because I had so many eggs and everything like that, I had a lot of fluid like on my body and on my fallopian tube and everything. So they wanted to make sure instead of placing the embryo right then and there, I had to wait a month before they would place the embryo to make sure that my body wouldn't reject it and everything. So we went in May in order to have the embryo placed. And at this time, I'm still taking meds to keep my body like ready. So we went in to have the embryo placed, and we did. I have a video of it and everything. It's really cool. And then from there, I got really sad because it was like, oh my God, like this little person's in me. What if it doesn't happen? And then literally that day I'm like cramping and I'm spotting, and I'm just like, oh my God, like we just went through all of this. Am I going to have to go through all of this again? You know, thankfully I had embryos, so I wouldn't have to go through the whole process again. But I'm also really emotional because I have a lot of drugs and hormones coursing through my veins. I was a crazy person. So I made Eddie buy me a car.
That was not the question I was about to ask you.
Because I was feeling really sad.
You got a car?
Yeah.
But also, well, I can't say that yet because I don't know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So I'll say what I want to say.
So I was at work, and so after they placed the embryo, I still had to take progesterone shots every day for 10 weeks. And I had to go in like every other day to make sure that my HCG levels were doubling. And they were doubling and they were doubling. And I was at work one day and I got the call confirming that, yes, your baby took. And I was in my office when I got the call, and my roommates, I called them, because I was a staff development teacher, and the reading specialist and the math specialist were in the office with me. Like we shared an office, and I called them my roommates. Shout out to my girls. But they were like just standing there, and I told them, and like we all just started jumping up and down and screaming. And
like
then
a
I
scene
called
from
Eddie,
Michelle.
and yeah, it was a moment. When I tell you, like I'm in tears, I was just too happy. So that was a journey, and my pregnancy with Chandler was probably my best pregnancy that I had. Like I was sick, but not anywhere near how it was with Edward and Catherine, and I was able to eat whatever I wanted. I ate good.
I love to hear that.
It was nice.
What I was gonna say
until
oh Jesus,
I ended up with gestational diabetes. I had to go to the doctors every.
It's just all the crafts and stuff.
I had to go to the doctors every Tuesday and Thursday, so that they could monitor me for like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, that was just a premature push present. Is what I see. That's how I would spin it. I was making sure though. And then, so you already mentioned. I just have so many questions.
That's okay.
I'm trying to think of the best order. So you mentioned still having. Okay, first question, I guess, before I even get in that. For you, it wasn't a matter of like housing the baby. It was a matter of the baby getting to the house, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why did they have you? What were the progesterone shots for?
Because the baby wasn't naturally like conceived. My body needed progesterone because your body creates progesterone when you get pregnant.
Okay.
And because it wasn't like a natural pregnancy, my body wasn't going to just start creating progesterone.
I got you.
To make sure that the baby implanted and all of that. So I had to take it for 10 weeks.
Okay. And what was my other question? Okay, you mentioned already. Well, before we get this to the gestational diabetes, at this point, you are of advanced age, even though she's not God. She was only 35, but you know what they
Well, I was 34
Okay.
during the pregnancy.
34.
But by the time he was born, I was 35. And they did tell me that it was an advanced maternal.
Janet Jackson had a baby at 50, but whatever. So with that, and also having gone through the IVF process, how often were you going to the doctors? Because I know you said by the time you got diabetes, it was twice a week, but prior to that, how often was it?
It started off pretty normal. Well, no, it didn't start off pretty normal because I went through IVF, I had to go in and make sure that my levels were getting checked. So they drew blood from me every day for like 2 weeks. To make sure that like my numbers were doubling and things like that. And then after that, I had to go and have ultrasounds like once a week. So we did that for like 7 weeks. And then I was released. They say you graduated. And I got to put like this little puffball inside of the jar to say that we had graduated. So from there, I got released to my own doctor. And I had, like the 8-week appointment that you typically have. And then you come back for like your normal appointments like you typically would. And it was when I was about 20 weeks that I ended up having to do the gestational diabetes test the second time, the longer glucose test. And they were like, okay, you got gestational diabetes. So I got to take more needles and prick my finger, and I had to give myself insulin and all of that. But then by the time I was like 30 weeks, I had to start going to the doctors like every twice a week in order to have the baby monitored.
Okay.
So I was at the doctors a lot.
Yeah.
For my little Chan man.
And sorry, what did that look like with your job? Like,
well,
because I know you're a teacher.
I was a staff development teacher working for an early childhood school, which was the best school ever, and working under the best administration I've ever had the privilege of working under. Shout out to Brenda and Brandon. I didn't have subplans. Like, I didn't have a class. I was like the staff development teacher, so I went in and helped other teachers when they needed coaching and things like that. So I would just like go in the morning time. The appointments were close to my job, and then I would just go to work. Yeah, but I had time at that point because I had been in the county for like 13 years. So I had time saved up and all of that.
I want to rewind a little bit. Not really, kind of. It's all on topic. Because that made me think of something you said recently of how the timing was important of when you got pregnant with Chandler. Because how, like with Catherine, when you were a teacher, you wouldn't have had that flexibility to do that. So if you could speak on that just a little bit, because I'm sure that's not the only aspect of timing in this situation. This situation.
There's so much timing. Like I just feel like me getting pregnant with Chandler at the time that I got pregnant with him was God's exact design. because I imagine if I had gotten pregnant with him and then Eddie had been in the hospital with the amputation, or if I had been pregnant with him through COVID and what that would have looked like. There were just so many times where things would have looked so much different. And even with me getting the job at Campfield and becoming a staff development teacher, like, my life was so easy and grand, and there were no papers to bring home to grade, and there was no lesson planning to be done in the evening. And when I got home, because I was an old hoe, by the time I was pregnant with Chandler, like,
34 is not old, ma'am.
Listen, when you have a baby when you were 23, the difference between that and having a baby at 34, let me tell you, like, when they told me at first that it was going to be advanced maternal age, I was like, ain't nothing advanced about this. I'm young. Okay. So, yeah, it was different. I was tired. I came home from work every day and took a nap. I didn't get home till 5, but I needed to lay down because nothing was getting done for anybody if I didn't sleep. So, yeah, it was a lot, but the timing worked out perfectly. Like, Chandler taught me that God's plans are perfect. I didn't know why I hadn't had a baby yet, but now I do, because God just knew that it needed to be at the right time.
And you just said something.
What did I say?
I don't know, girl, because if I knew, I would know what my question was, because I can't remember. Jesus. Okay, whatever. It'll come to me when it comes to me. But during that time when you were taking the progesterone and things like that, were you very anxious? Like, because you know how, like, sometimes when people are like, I don't want to say anything until 12 weeks, like that type of anxiety about the situation?
Yes. Actually, with Edward and Catherine, when I found out I was pregnant, I announced on Facebook and all of that. If you hadn't seen me, you didn't know.
With Chandler?
Yeah. We also did not find out if he was a boy or a girl or any of that. Like, we found out at the hospital what we were having, which was, I know that I couldn't have done it with my first two, but at this point it was like, I got a boy and a girl. So, really doesn't matter. But after finding out that he was a boy, I was actually really relieved, because my daughter is so amazing, and I know I never want to love another little girl the way that I love her. So
you so damn mushy, bro.
I know,
but also, Catherine, you have a really nice mom.
Yeah, like, she's y'all. My baby is perfection. I love my daughter. I love my sons, but growing up, I always wanted 5 sons. Like, I never wanted a daughter. So when
you have a lot of sisters,
I do. Okay. I'm one of 9 kids and 6 of us is girls. Yeah. So, and I didn't fit the mold with my sisters. Like, I'm not girly. I ain't got no nails. There's no makeup. That's not who I was. So I didn't know how I would relate to a little girl. But my daughter is everything, and she's very girly. Very much so.
She doesn't get it from her mom.
She doesn't, but she's now made me like there are times now where I'll wear makeup because I want her to know what that feels like and things like that. So, I want her, if she comes and wants to know how to do mascara, I want to know how to do that because she is girly. So, but yeah.
How do I say this? I love to hear that, number one, because for 2 reasons. I feel like women are obsessed with their sons.
We are.
But, like, not in the, I love my baby boys, love them down, but, like, the creepy obsessed.
Yeah.
And then I feel like mother and daughter have very, not toxic, but they can have very
volatile
complex
relationships.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't want to say it's not necessary. I don't have a child. I mean,
you do. You have 2.
I don't have a daughter. I don't have a daughter. But it's just like, what's the difference? These are both people that you birthed. Like, love that child the same way you love that little boy. So I really love to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Because, not everybody. I feel like me and my sister did receive that. No. But, like, from I've seen others who have not. And it makes me sad a little bit.
My mother with us versus my brother was ridiculous. Ridiculous. She would make us kiss his hand.
And did he take that into adulthood?
Yes, he's very much a spoiled brat. But I also understand because she had 3 sons prior to him that all passed in infancy or like in utero. So, and he was supposed to pass as well. He wasn't due until April, and her water broke with him in December. And then it broke with him again in January, and in February she was just like, it's not meant for me to have a son. Like, you know, and he was born in February, and they sent him home because they didn't think that he was going to live. So they were like, you know, just take your baby home. And he lived. So she treated him like an absolute king.
I can see why. Yes, you're right. But still, it does suck for the girl.
It does. It does.
I can understand why she did it, but it still does suck for the girls. Okay, so was it the same doctor as Catherine?
No.
Okay, tell me about your team. Did you have a doula? Those type of things.
I didn't have a doula. I had David Silverman. And David Silverman was my doctor. And so it's funny because my husband works for hospitals and he works for Sinai and everything. And after his foot amputation and everything, I was done with Sinai because that happened at Sinai and I wasn't happy. But we had the insurance through Sinai and everything. So I was seeing LifeBridge doctors as well. So I had David Silverman, but after everything happened with Eddie's foot, like we went back to my insurance for my job, and I switched everybody's doctors back to Hopkins doctors because I wasn't having it. But I didn't switch my doctor back to Hopkins because
of Silverman.
Because of Silverman. So because he was with me on my IVF journey, I didn't want a new doctor. When I tell you, he has a presence about him. He doesn't just come in, you know, and talk about the baby and things like that. Like, he's like, how's Edward? How's Catherine? How's work? You know what I mean? Like, he got to know me and my family. He wasn't sitting there looking at a chart. He was talking to me. Yeah. When I had to go for the egg retrieval and everything, like, he was there holding my hand, like, you'll be cool. Don't worry about it. You know, like, he was so personable. So I ended up having Chandler at Sinai because I needed to stay with Dr. Silverman through this process. And even now, like, he has now left Sinai and gone to Hopkins. Guess who switched over to Hopkins to be with Silverman?
That worked out for you because you went to Hopkins anyway.
Yeah. So, he is an amazing doctor. If you're looking for OB/GYN, David Silverman.
David Silverman. Okay. And that's like, I feel like those type of things make the difference.
It does.
Because, like, and it's even for me, you could have it in your chart and you could have just reviewed the chart 15 minutes before you came in and told me. I don't care. It still feels like.
To me, it feels like you know me, you remember me.
Even that is intentional. Even if,
and then, because he's not in there writing things in his chart when he's talking to me. So that means that when you left me, you went back and you, like, wrote these things down. And, like, you knew that they were important details to remember and to include. So.
And that's missing from a lot of people.
It is.
So tell me your birthing story. Were you leaking on couches again?
I was not leaking on couches. Because I had gestational diabetes, I was fairly large with Chandler to the point that people ask me all the time, are you sure they ain't two? Did
you chop him in the throat?
I didn't.
Because them questions irk my soul.
Yeah, it do. Thank you. That's your nice way of telling me that I'm really fat. Thank you. Like, I thought you were talking about my face.
I didn't say that, but then I followed. No, I got you.
I got that. Like, basically, you're saying, you huge. Like, and that's what you're saying.
I'm trying life. Get on my face.
Right. I am creating a person.
Yeah.
So they ended up scheduling me for a C-section. So I had scheduling my induction for a week before because Chandler was due February 1st. And I ended up going in to have him on the 25th.
Chandler, you're funny.
And at this point, they told me that I was eligible for a VBAC. So I was excited about that because I always wanted to, like, have a natural birth. And now I'm not feeling anxious at all, right? So I get to the hospital. My husband's there. My best friend's there. My mom's there. We doing good, right? And labor's progressing. I'm up. I'm dancing. Everything just feels good and lovely. And then I'm like, I'm in pain. This is stupid. Tanasia, get an epidural.
This is stupid.
This is stupid. Like, this is stupid. Like, you in pain. And it was getting to the point where we were getting so close to, like, the baby being born. All I could think about was the fact that, ma'am, they're inducing you because this baby's big.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it was the pushing part that was making me feel like, go ahead and get this epidural. So I got it. And now, after having had Chandler, I realize that my body does not do well with epidurals.
Okay.
Because I got the epidural and 20 minutes later, his heart rate dropped. Same thing that happened with Catherine. And they rushed me in for the C-section immediately.
Didn't you have an epidural with Edward?
I did.
Okay.
I did. But I don't know if it's my advanced age. I don't know.
It could have been the Pitocin, because Pitocin. Well, I don't
But
know.
I had Pitocin with all of them, too.
Damn.
So
Edward was just lucky.
yeah, I think it had more to do with the fact that I was so young and everything, but
Sorry.
I don't know what it is. But after having epidurals, every time my children start fighting for their lives. So, and I also don't know if it's because I got the epidurals so late with Catherine and Chandler. Because with Edward, I got the epidural before I really felt like I needed it.
Yeah.
So my body wasn't already fighting. With them, I waited until my body was fighting. So I think there's a lot that could possibly go into that. But I had an emergency C-section. And while they were in there, they cut my bladder.
How you find that out?
Oh, they told me.
Okay.
And
What the hell? Was it
This-
Silverman?
no, he was not the one.
I was gonna say, not you
that
letting
did
us
the
down like that.
No, he was not the
Okay.
one that performed my C-section. But so Eddie gets in there, and first of all, they always forget how tall my husband is, I think, because the sheet was not tall enough, whereas though he couldn't see all of my guts laying out on the side. So yeah, like they cut my bladder, and Eddie gets in there, and like this is much different than my C-section with Catherine. It's taking a lot longer. The baby has come out. They give the baby to Eddie, and at this point, I'm still on the table, and they're trying to stop the bleeding, first of all. And I'm also very nauseous. And at this point now, I'm really tired, and I'm kind of dozing in and out. And Eddie's like, baby, wake up. You okay? And I'm like, you know. But in between that, I'm throwing up. But I'm laying on my back.
the table.
Yeah. And I'm throwing up. I'm laying on my back. And Eddie is like completely like freaked out at this point because he's got the baby. The baby's fine. But the doctor is now on top of the table, on top of me, trying to stop the bleeding and to repair my bladder and then to stitch me up. So whereas with Catherine, the whole thing probably took about 15 to 20 minutes, I was in there for almost an hour. So Eddie was very like worried and things like that. And yeah. So, and then after having Chan and everything and getting home, like I was still very sore. I had to go home with like a catheter bag because I couldn't use my bladder or anything like that. So I had a catheter bag for 2 weeks. And yeah, so it was all very interesting. But by the time I had Chandler, Eddie was working from home. So he was there with me every day. And yeah, so the recovery wasn't as terrible as it would have been if it had been like what it was with Catherine.
Okay. This bladder. So what do you do after that? Like, you see them? Like, what happens after that?
No, because so that's another part of it. Like, when I went in to have Chandler, they told me of, like, this is the C-section thing, and they thoroughly went through everything and told me, like, all of the different things that could possibly happen if I ended up needing to have a C-section. And that was one of the things that they had mentioned, like, depending on the placement of your bladder and things like that and where we need to cut to get the baby out, like, it can happen. So, but they, like, everything that's in that paperwork that they have you sign and stuff, they went over all of those bullet points with me. And I feel like a lot of hospitals don't.
No, they don't.
They're just like, yeah, this is just says if we have to do a C-section, like these are the complications. No, they sat there as I was doing my intake because I was getting induced. They went over every single point with me.
I had a C-section with Ramel. And they did have me sign papers, and I like to read things. But I remember the lady like, you just had to sign. I was like, I just had to read it because I am signing it. Like,
yeah.
Why are you rushing me? You could explain it to me. That would have helped.
Yeah.
I still probably would have tried to read it because I don't know you like that and I don't trust you.
Like it was there was a copy in my hand and the doctor had a copy and she was going like, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, okay. All right. Like, let's do this, please. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
But,
just get the baby.
Yeah.
Dead K is not English. So what was that postpartum season like? It sounds like different, obviously, because you have Eddie home. So what was it like I don't want to say in comparison, just in general.
It was amazing. It was so good. So like the day I came home, okay, baby, I'm sorry. The day I came home from the hospital with Chandler, Catherine and Edward were very excited. Yeah. Chandler and Catherine were very excited. Edward and Catherine were very excited about Chandler. And I can remember like laying on the couch and being tired. And I had Chandler laying there with me. And Catherine comes in and she's 8. And she's like, do you want me to hold him? I'm like, yeah, baby, you can hold him. So she sits all the way back on the couch and I pass him over to her. And I end up dozing off and falling asleep. I don't know what woke me up. But I woke up and she was laying there. She was sitting there on the couch. TV's not on. The lights are off. There's a blanket over top of me. She had laid him down on the couch, put a blanket over top of me, turned the lights out, and was just sitting there looking at him. And I was like, oh, kid, how long have I been sleeping? She was like, a little over an hour. And I'm like, oh. And she was like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. She was like, do you want me to get you anything? I was like, no. I was like, you can turn the TV on. And she was like, no, I want you to get some rest. And you don't sleep well with the TV on.
How did you not bust out in tears?
Girl, when I tell you, my daughter can do everything for this baby. Like my cousin Kelly will oftentimes like watch him for us if like Eddie and I need to go and do something. And her only request is to bring Catherine too.
She knows she ain't watching nobody.
But because Catherine literally she changes diapers. So I went to my uncle's funeral the other day and his best friends had never watched Chandler or whatever, but they came over to watch Chandler and everything. And I was like trying to give them instructions, but at the same time I kept going, well, and Catherine will do this and then Catherine will do, but you know, as soon as he woke up,
boy, you scared the crap out of me just
as soon as she woke up, she came down and made his toast and got his milk like he likes, and she changed his diaper, and he had a bit of a blowout.
Look at that.
Yeah, the milk will make him happy.
Food will make me happy too, shorty.
Yeah. So you know, like she just does everything. She can give him a bath. She knows how to put him to bed. She knows what he likes and what he doesn't like. If ever he's upset, she's right there. It doesn't matter what she's doing. Catherine is running because, as she says, he's my baby. So.
Ooh. And like 10 years, Catherine's 10, I'll give it 15, 16.
She's 10
She's
now.
Gonna be posting pictures like, this is my first real baby.
Oh, yeah.
When she has
absolutely.
If she would like to, because she could decide she doesn't want to have any.
That's what she says now. Yeah, that she doesn't. I
said
want
America
kids.
Like I'm Bernie Mac.
America. But yeah, she says that she doesn't want kids because she doesn't want to give birth. So she always says that she's going to adopt.
Baby, that's the easy part.
Hello. Can you not draw on this?
So
it's kind of drawn on your back, but
I don't care, girl. It's washable marker.
Yes, it is.
And it's gonna go in the wash.
It is.
Mind you, if this was my kid, I would be so overstimulated. I'd be like, Raquel, get off my back. But because it's not, it don't bother me at all. Well, I feel like that really needs to be studied.
It does.
Because like, what is it? Because if anybody else's child were to do anything, I just like,
I know exactly what it is.
Tell me, please.
You're my child. You know me. You know what's going to be too much for me. Maybe. We have way more grace for other people's kids than we have for our own.
Okay. Like
I tell Edward all the time, like you've been with me for 13 years. You know me. You know what's going to irritate me, yet you doing it anyways. Yeah. So I feel like you're trying to irritate me, and I feel like that's disrespectful.
Okay, you hit it on the head. Okay, breastfeeding with Chandler.
So good. So I made it 10 months with Edward, 9 months with Catherine. I made it 18 months with Chandler.
Look at you, girl.
And a lot of it had to do with, one, Eddie being home with me meant that all I had to do was focus on breastfeeding. I didn't have to worry about the kids. I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to really do anything. I was able to really just like establish my milk. And by the time I went back to work with Chandler, because I took 12 weeks with Chandler, because that was my entire FMLA, I took the entire time. So I didn't go back to work with him until May. Okay. I think I went back on like May 3rd or something like that. So now the school year is also ending. And then I had the entire summer with him as well. So that also helped me to build up a better supply. And then I was a staff development teacher. So when I went back to work, I would just pump in my office.
That was my next question.
And I had wearables. So there were times where I wasn't pumping in my office. Because I was at early childhood school, everybody was under the age of 3. So I would just put them in and go and be with the babies and everything. And I'm sorry, I'm under the age of 4. But I would just go and, do what I needed to do. It wasn't an issue. So my nursing journey was a lot easier. But I stopped pumping in December with him.
Okay.
So he was almost 1 when I stopped pumping, but he still had so much milk at home. But I continued to nurse until July, and he and I were just sitting in the car, and we had a conversation because he's huge. And
I was wondering if it was you or him who ended it, honestly.
I think it was a mutual decision because he was very much attached. Like, when I walked in the house, that was the first thing that he wanted. And it was like a way that we bonded and things like that. But people around us were getting uncomfortable.
That's a them problem.
It is a them problem. But at the same time, like, I noticed him wanting more independence to be able to go and do things like how he is right now. He wasn't doing that. Like, he felt like he had to be beside me all of the time. He was torn between living life and being on boob. So in order to offer him a little bit more independence and stuff, it was like, okay, we're going to do this. So I stopped in July.
All right.
And it was not hard for him at all. He literally was like, oh, okay, cool.
So, like, you, like, stop. Like, all right, this is the last time you want to boo, bye. Okay. He's like, all right, cool, Mom. Okay, I got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Why you keep tapping like this? All right, so how has your motherhood style evolved, or your style of parenting in general, evolved from Edward to Chandler?
Oh, Chandler's got the best mother, and I apologize to Edward all of the time for the mother that he had. I was definitely parenting Edward from a place of ignorance, of trauma, of misinformation, of rushing and not having enough time to stop and explain. When I tell y'all my baby got spankings like all the time because of being a child when he shouldn't have, it was just like, in my mind, if I spank you, you're gonna behave, you're gonna do what you're supposed to do. And he didn't.
He's a kid.
He didn't. But I was so strict, and I wanted this way, this way, this way. And, then Catherine came along and showed me who's boss. And she was this totally different child. When it came to disciplining with Catherine, I'll never forget. It was one time we were having some event at the house, and I had asked her to stop running around or something, and she just kept going. She kept going. And I took her upstairs, tap those thighs. She was 3. And I did, and she hit me back. I'm black. So, I tapped them thighs again. And she hit me back. And I hit her, and she hit me, and I hit. And
y'all just up there tapping each other.
Yes. And Eddie comes up the stairs, and he's like, "What is even going on up here?" And I'm giving her the stare down, and she giving me the stare down, looking me right in my eyes, and I'm like, "This little disrespectful little girl." So at that point, I had to walk away because it was like. So then I come back, and I'm like, "You may not hit mommy." And she said, well, I don't like it when you hit me. And I said, and while I understand that, there are times where you're going to do things and you get spankings. This is how you are corrected. And she said, I'm a person. You can talk to me.
Not at 3, girl.
At 3. I'm a person. You can talk to me. I don't feel loved when you hit me. And I was like,
you went somewhere and cried?
No.
Oh,
I was like, well, Catherine, that means that you need to be a listener. Mm-hmm. And she was like, okay, I'll do a better job of listening if that means that you're not going to hit me. And I said, okay. And I haven't had to since. There are times where, but if I sit her down and I say, look, here's where we at. She's like, okay, I understand. Mm-hmm. But in the midst of what I realized is like because we were having that party and she was running around and I was saying it to her, but it was like, hey, stop running. It wasn't like I sat her down and said, hey, I need you to not do this. Catherine is very emotionally intelligent. And when you explain things to her, she will then understand and like, oh, okay, I understand where you're coming from, blah, blah, blah. And I've created a monster. Because at 10 years old, she will say, I need time to be in my feelings. Like, I am mad right now about what it is that you said to me. I get that I'm in trouble, but allow me to have my feelings.
Is it a monster?
Yes, because the world is not very accepting of little black girls like that just yet. And it gets her in trouble at school.
Okay.
And then I have to I always have her back. But in the midst of trying to teach her that she's allowed to have her feelings and things like that, I am also teaching her tact because you cannot speak to adults and people any way that you want to. Right. Prime example, beginning of the school year, she's got new gym teachers or whatever. She's got this new teacher. She's in 4th grade. There's this boy in class and he's like throwing marker caps at her. And she looks around and she's like, hey, stop. So, he's doing it again. She was like, stop. If you don't stop, you're going to see what's going to happen. So then they are in line at gym and he's swinging his sweater and it's hitting her. And she's like, hey, stop swinging your sweater. He's like, stop swinging your sweater. So she takes her forearm and pushes him up against the wall by his neck. And now the gym teacher only sees this interaction and not the fact that she has been provoked. And the gym teacher comes over and she's like separating them and scolding Catherine to the point that Catherine's like, all y'all see is an angry black girl. But y'all don't see what got me here. Like, I warned him and he kept going, so he has to face these hands. Yeah. No. Can't do that. So, they get sent to the counselor's office and everything. And
but I'm just saying she wasn't wrong.
She wasn't wrong. That's the thing. She wasn't wrong. But, like she said, nobody in this world is going to stop and try and figure out what happened before. All they see is you as the aggressor. And I said to her, I said, when he was doing that, what adult did you tell? And she said, that's another thing that agitates her about like kids in the school system and things like that, because they're taught not to tattle, to try and handle things on their own. Yeah. And nobody wants to, like, kids don't do what they're supposed to do until you go to tell an adult. I can tell you to be quiet, you're bothering me, I'm trying to do my work. But you're going to keep going until I tell an adult. And then the adults are telling me that I'm snitching. So I handle it myself. And nobody likes how I handle it. And I'm like, I understand that. But you have to tell the adult first. And if then the adult does nothing, then we can throw hands. Yeah. But you have to take that step so that we can protect ourselves. And she's like, I understand, but I'm like, okay, I hear your butt, but do it. Yes. So she's very, like I said, emotionally intelligent, but this world is not always ready for the young woman that I am raising. Eat it now. And it can also be irritating when I am trying to just be my normal black mama self because I said so, don't work in my house. Yeah. And I don't always want to have to explain myself to you. There are times where I need you to do what I said without me having to explain it. And I prefaced this with her recently because I was like, you know, if I told you to stop running because you were getting ready to run out in the traffic, do you think I'm going to give you all that? When I say stop, I need you to just stop and trust that I have your best interest in mind. Asking me why all of the time can come off as disrespectful. Well, why does it come off as disrespectful? Damn it, little girl. You know, like, but that's who she is.
So I need to know the why, ma'am.
Yeah, I need to know why about a lot of things. And I'm like, I'm your mother, got your best interest at heart, blah, 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 blah.
Now.
Sometimes I just need you to listen.
How have you maintained a sense of self through this motherhood journey?
I have just recently gotten back to my sense of self. I lost the fact that I was a woman a lot. And then it's crazy. I got the job as a staff development teacher, but it was also COVID that helped me to realize, like, once I didn't have a bunch of running around to do for my children and family, it was like, oh. And as the kids got older, it was like, oh, I think I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. And I've gotten back into reading. My husband is very much an introvert. He loves being at home, and I used to feel bad about like leaving him and the kids being home. He doesn't care as long as he doesn't have to go with me. He, you know, he wants to be at home in his space with his people. He loves when people come over, but he does not like going out dancing and things like that. Like, those are things that I still enjoy doing. And he's like, go, have fun, go have fun. I'm going to lunch tomorrow with friends of mine, you know, and he wants those things for me because he knows that I am more extroverted and I like to do more things. So he's very supportive of that. And yeah, I've been trying to maintain those things.
And it took
doing
you.
Things. Yeah, it did. It took.
And that's not judgment.
Still.
It's just literal, like, sometimes you just don't realize.
Yeah, you don't, especially when you have young children, because there's so much need of you. You know what I mean? But during COVID, everything slowed down. Yeah, my life slowed down tremendously, and it was a hard time for so many people. But Eddie and I being able to work from home meant we never lost income. And we were in our space with our children. And honestly, it strengthened our marriage because we really got to love each other in a way that we used to do before we had kids and had so much running around to do. So it was just really nice. We, you know, started new routines of watching our shows each night and things like that. So that's also something that is very important in our relationship. After 9 o'clock, if I'm looking at a child, I got an attitude.
It's annoying. I don't think somebody feels that way, but I'm like, get this thing off my face.
Yeah. So bedtime for us is solid. Go to bed, because these between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. is our time. You know, Eddie and I don't go on many dates and things like that because I can't stand being away from my kids. But I feel like we date each other every night. You know what I mean? We have our shows. We have our different little TikToks that we send to each other, and we sit down and we watch them. So if he sends me TikToks during the day, I don't watch them until nighttime when we get together and I can watch them. You know, we play card games. We'll sit in the room and play board games, watch our movies. We're currently listening to the Hunger Games books together. Like, we have things that is just for us. And it's harder on my daughter because she believes that my husband is her man. And there are times where I'm like, hey, you got to go. This is our time. This is our time. But yeah, we make sure to make time for each other every single night. So that's nice.
I could have it. I was testing you for real.
No, he was like, no.
I was going to say something. I got distracted myself. Whose idea was it to name him Chandler?
Mine. So Edward is named for his father, right? My mother always said that the first son is named after his father. So he is Edward David Gormley III. Catherine is a mix of us. So Catherine is my grandmother's name.
Okay.
And then she's Grace Monet. Grace for his sister. That's his sister's middle name. Monet for my older sister. That's my older sister's middle name. And then Gormley. So in my mind, Catherine Monet was for me. Grace Gormley was for him. So Edward's completely him, and Catherine is a split. So I said that I wanted to name this child. Now, I wanted a TR name because I'm Tanasia Rachel. But in the midst of wanting to have a baby so bad, I got a dog. And the T name that I would have used for a son, I used on my dog. So my dog is Theodore. Shout out to my baby. We didn't talk about his birth story because I didn't give birth to him. But Theodore is... His mama loved him. Okay. He is a border collie. And it's funny because he and Chandler have the same birthday. So the day that I was induced with Chandler, that morning I did Theodore's cake and everything before I left and sang happy birthday into him and stuff. But yeah, so they share a birthday. My baby's 5.
Theodore.
Theodore is going to be 6.
What the hell y'all call the dog? Y'all call the dog Theodore?
Yeah.
Not Theo? Theodore. I'm sorry. I'm yelling in the mic.
I will sometimes call him the adorable pup.
Okay.
Or I call him Thee.
Okay. Theodore's just a mouthful for a dog. That's all I was saying.
It is, but most of the time I call him Theodore. Theodore! So yes, I use my T name. And I couldn't really find any other T names that I like because Edward and Catherine are so regal, and I wanted that. And I am not one for different names, being named Tanasia. I never want my child... people who don't need to know that they Black from their resume. That's been a thing.
I'm the same. Like my kid's name not Ramel and Rakim. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm the same.
Okay, I got you. But so that was just like growing up. That was a huge thing for me. Like people couldn't pronounce my name. No one could spell it. My name has already been like such a struggle for me. I was like, no, I need regular names. And my girl name that was a T was Tallulah, and I was gonna call her Tully.
You just said something about regular names. You gonna say Tallulah?
But then my mother-in-law was like, "Oh, like Tallulah Bankhead," and I was like,
"I don't know who that is."
It's apparently an actress, but I ain't like the Bankhead part.
Okay.
And when I said Tallulah to anybody, they was thinking that, and I was like, I don't want that. So then I decided that I wanted to do a CH name because my mother was Christina CH, and my dad is Chad CH.
Okay.
So I said, okay, it's gonna be something CH. Ray Gormley. So, because I'm Rachel, he's Ray. And I was at work, and one of the girls that I worked with at the time, Bree, shout out to Bree, she was like, well, why don't you name him Chandler? It's your favorite. I was like, ooh. So it was either going to be Chandler or Charlotte. So it was going to be Charlotte Ray or Chandler Ray. And yeah. And then in October of 2024, Matthew Perry died, and everyone started calling my phone. And when I tell y'all, I cried like nobody's business. We were actually upstairs. We were downstairs prepping things for my baby shower when I got that information, and I cried real bad. And then I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't name him Chandler because everybody's going to think that I named him Chandler because Chandler died.
I did.
And I was like, yeah.
I did.
But his name was Chandler before then because I love everything about Friends. It is a show that when I was younger, I watched with my dad, and we actually watched it as a family. And that was something that we did, and that was the first time that I felt like I had a real family. So when I sit down and watch Friends, at that time my mother was clean, she was married, we had a house. My dad lived with us, so he's my stepdad, but he's my dad. Lived with us. We had family game nights. There were meals on the table every night. That was a part of my childhood that felt very like I could be a child.
Yeah.
So when I watch Friends, I'm taken back to that time of comfort and things like that. It's my comfort show. So while living single is great, it wasn't a comfort show the way that Friends was for me and my family. So I love everything Friends, so I named my baby Chandler because Chandler Bing is my favorite character. He's not named for Matthew Perry. He's named for Chandler Bing.
Context.
Yes. And his nickname is Tater Tot because we didn't know what we were having. So a lot of people still call him Tater, and some people now call him Bing. But we pretty much just call him Chan or Shmoo.
That's funny, Bing.
Although he does have an elephant.
You call me?
Because his room is elephant themed, and he has an elephant named Bing. Yeah.
Okay. So my last question for you.
Okay.
What would be your piece of advice to mothers that are in that waiting period of getting their babies?
It's actually interesting that you asked me that, because I always felt bad that I was always like feeling anxious about having a baby because I had to. Mm-hmm. Right? Like the 6 years that we waited for Chan were a very hard 6 years. I have 2 friends right now. One is a childhood friend. I've known her since I was 11 years old, and she has wanted a child for over 15 years, and she has been trying, and she's had so many failed IVF and IUI attempts, and she is due with her first child in January, and she didn't do IVF or IUI at all. And she got married this year and everything. Like, God's timing is perfect. And you just have to be still, be patient, pray, and know that, you know, your time is coming, but also challenge these doctors. Ask questions, do your own research, get your body healthy. Prenatal pills are not for while you're pregnant, it's for when you're trying to get pregnant. There are vitamins for men as well. Make sure your man is taking the vitamin. And make sure your mental health and all of that. Like, you got to take care of your entire self when you're preparing to have a child. And yeah, you know, and I also have another friend that's tried and had so many miscarriages and things, and she's due with a son in January as well. Like, I'm seeing so many more people, and it's not as taboo as it was to talk about. There's so many people that don't talk about that period of wanting a child and not having a child, and, you know, and the waiting is so hard. But I have the scripture up on my bathroom mirror, and I still haven't taken it down, but of Abraham and Sarah when they wanted a child, and she was having trouble conceiving, you know, and I read that every single day for 6 years. And, you know, stay prayed up.
Yeah.
Check in on your physical health and your mental health and your partner's physical health and mental health. And if it is in God's will, it's going to happen.
I know I just said that was the right question. I'm sorry, but you just said something that made me think of something. Also, obviously, Eddie's not here, but he's your husband. You guys have had conversations. Because I feel like oftentimes a lot of the checking on and checking in on people is on the woman, because she's the one who's going through the physical process. But men want to be fathers too. And it's like, that's Eddie's business, so I don't know if you're comfortable with you telling that. But like,
he very much wanted it too, but I know that he was being very strong for me, because physically I was the one taking all of the meds and you know, doing all of the things, and I was the one that, you know, wasn't getting the cycle and having to take the test and seeing it. And, you know, because I remember one time taking a test and then my period came a few days later, and just like being utterly sad, and he was like trying to comfort me and stuff, and I was like, you just feel that way because, you know, you only want the baby because I want it. And he was like, whoa, hold up, that's not true. I'm over here being strong because I know how you're feeling about it. But he was like, I want the baby just as much as you do, and it feels like a failure on my part too, even though neither of us is failing. Like, you know, don't do that. And it was like, okay. And I definitely had to understand, you know, his feelings around it too.
I know I've told you I was about to let you go. And then like moving through that in everyday life, because I'm not sure, like, I don't know who knew what you were going through, I guess to say. But like, how do you move through everyday life having that on your shoulders, I guess to say? How was that?
It was tough because a lot of my friends knew, you know what I mean? And people will check in with you. And you can be having a real good day, and somebody will check in with you. Or the way that some of my friends kind of tiptoed around me when they found out they were pregnant. And I'm so happy for you, but I'm sad for myself. But I'm so happy for you because I just genuinely love babies. I want everybody to have babies, and then I want them to give me my babies. This is not a part of your questions that you asked me.
Okay, great.
But so, as I said, we had 9 embryos. Chandler is 1. we don't feel as though we're going to have more babies. So we have 8 more embryos. And we have options, of course. We can donate them to science. And for me, that's a no. Because these are my babies. They are very loved. I prayed for these babies. You can dispose of them. And like they do like a ceremony and everything. But like I said, that's a no because these are my babies. And then like we could donate them. They have where we can just donate them to anybody. Which I don't necessarily want to do because then like you sever all ties and you don't know necessarily like what happens. Or you can like donate them to somebody that you know that wants to like have babies. And I wouldn't like want the baby back or anything like that, but I kind of would just want to know like that my baby went to somebody that, you know.
Like adoption in a sense.
Exactly. But open adoption, you know. So if anybody is looking.
If you want a Gormley baby.
They both smart. They are very smart. And they are very cute.
I can't even say your name, girl. Tanasia is smart. Eddie can bake. Can you cook?
I can burn.
They both have cooking culinary skills.
You know, Robert calls
Eddie's
me T-Ray
tall.
Gourmet.
Now invite me to the next house event because I can eat. So you know, it's great skills and traits here.
And here, let me show you the product.
Girl. Today.
Here, Chan, come here. Show the people your face. Look at these cheeks. You can have one too.
That you could have one too. Say cheese.
Say cheese.
He said, girl, you're my snack. Dang it, you're making me forget my question with your goofy self. Dang it. Also, my brain don't be helping when I can't remember things. We was talking, and it's probably a sign that I need to shut up for real.
Door.
Okay, it's gone. It was right there. What did you say? What were you saying before you started talking about having these eggs? Fertilized eggs. Oh, I remember. We were talking about the fertilized eggs. Okay. That's not a cheap process, I'm assuming.
No.
Did your job or his job, whoever insurance?
My insurance paid for the bulk of it. There are a lot of co-pays that you end up having to pay for. So they pay for all the procedures and everything, and we still are paying for, like, they don't pay for the storage of our embryos. So that's $80 a month. But yeah, so as you can see from this big one, we've been paying that $80 for quite some time.
I mean, is he 2 yet?
He'll be 2 in January.
Okay. January, baby. I'm not January.
Yeah, so,
January.
You know, and it was also like we were paying it through the pregnancy too. So it's been almost 3 years of us paying $80 every month. That's, you know, it's expensive, but it's worth it. And I want to make sure that our embryos go to somebody, because I know the struggle of wanting to be pregnant and wanting to have a baby and everything. And, you know, so.
Is there anything I did not ask of you that you would want to share with the people?
You didn't ask me how I got to be this pretty and smart.
All right. This was a lovely time. You're sorry. It was lovely having you here. Thank you for sharing your journey.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Even though I had to tell you, you had to have me.
Listen, it was on my wish list because now I gotta prove it. I ain't gonna do it right now.
But I sent her a message on TikTok.
I was on break because I'd be needing a break.
And I was like, so when you gonna have me on your podcast?
And my response was, you know, you were on my list to ask for this season, and here she is.
Here I am.
And she will be the first episode.
Yay!
And Chandler as well.
And Chandler.
You gonna say bye? Okay. He said, girl, I'm playing with my free snacks. So listeners, thank you for listening. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, all the things on YouTube's, TikToks, Instagram. I feel like that's it. I think that's it. My brain. Say bye to the people, Tanasia.
Bye.